Hey guys, it's RodimusPrimal. I am back with another video, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about Takara's release for, or at least their promotional video with Missing Link Arcee. We are also getting to see some of their official images from Japan with all of the stuff that they are releasing as well, goes along with the stuff that we're seeing out of Toy Fair. Also, Skybound is going to be releasing a compendium through Kickstarter that will bring the Marvel and UK comics together in a compendium book, which would be really great for fans. But also now, I do have to make mention of something that the Hasbro CEO has stated that may make fans, overreact or maybe underreact. We'll see what it goes down to, what is actually being said. Of course, I got a lot to talk about, so sit back, relax, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and let's transform and roll out. Consider supporting the channel on Patreon, becoming a channel member, or purchase some merch. Links are in the description below. So as I mentioned before, Skybound is going to be releasing the US and UK collected comic books together in a compendium that will have all of them edited in a way. I think they're going to go for the UK version, I guess, with the books, the way they're going to print them, so that the continuity issues are kind of like ironed out, so that it's pleasant to read. That's at least from what I've gathered from what I've been reading of this compendium so far. And it's going to be a collection of all of it, including G2, all done together. So if you want to get the original Marvel comics, you'll be able to do so in this collected, book. Now, the question that I have, the latter half of, G1 in the UK was all in black and white. And Hatchet in the UK also did a release where they actually went back and they recolored the comic books. And so this way that they were actually colored, which was great. But for those of us in the US, we never got to see it. In fact, they actually stopped printing the UK books around, I think IDW was reprinting them, and they got just before Time Wars, and they cut off, at that point, they didn't release the final volumes of the UK books, like Best of UK or whatever that they were doing. But this is looking to be a very promising set. The Kickstarter has not launched yet. And when it does, and we find out what the pricing is going to be, then I'll give you guys another update about this. But at least this is the initial announcement that we are getting this compendium book for the UK and US comic books for the original G1 Marvel, which is really great for Transformers fans all over, because I love the G1 cartoon, but I really love the G1 comics too. And if you've not checked out the G1 comics, I highly recommend reading it. I also recommend reading the Skybound books too. There are some really great comic books for some new updated versions of the Transformers. It's a really good story. I know some people don't like the art, some people do, and that's fine, but I've really been enjoying it, so I do highly recommend picking up the Skybound comics, for that they have been releasing so far. Void Rivals is actually really cool. In fact, they're doing a whole Skyfire or Jetfire set that you'll be able to do. I think it's a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. It'll be coming with 2 G.I. Joe figures. But yeah, I do recommend reading that, as well as the G.I. Joe books that correspond to it, because it's all one universe, which I think is really awesome. Now, before I talk about the lead story, which is the Japanese release of stuff, the toy listings have gone live for the stuff that was shown off at Toy Fair, which includes the Carnivac and Fistatron 2-pack. You have Crasher, you've got Vortex, which means they are doing Bruticus, and as well as Alchemist Prime. And also, we are getting official listings, I think, now for, I'm not sure if the listings have gone up, but I'll put them in the description if they're not. For Sideways, which is pretty much, it's almost 1-to-1. It's because it's the same exact toy designer in Takara who worked on the original toy back in Japan, worked on this one, and basically gave us a modern update, which is amazing. And, of all the Cybertron toys that they are releasing, I think it's pretty cool. This one in particular, I wasn't really the biggest fan of this particular Hot Shot figure, like even the original one. Like, I was like, okay, it's kind of cool, but some fans really love it. They also love this particular color scheme, which is the more Hot Rod-esque version of Cybertron Hot Shot. They're calling the character Excellion. So if you want it as a new Transformers character, go for it. They did actually make this particular version back in the day for Transformers Cybertron, and so now, and it's kind of weird saying back in the day for Transformers Cybertron, doesn't it? Yeah, it really does. But it's still cool. I think it's awesome for anybody who is a Cybertron fan to see some of their favorite Transformers hitting the toy shelf. But the big story, of course, is Missing Link Arcee, and she looks amazing. I have to say, she looks awesome. You've got the prototype colored version and the G1 cartoon colored version, C07, C08. That's what they're calling the the numbering system for the Missing Link figures. They've done Optimus Prime, the toy version colored. That was C01. C02 was cartoon colored without a trailer for Optimus. Then you have Bumblebee, you've got Cliffjumper, you've got Sunstreaker, and you've got Corden, and now you have two versions of Arcee. And I'm hoping they do more. This is a really cool. To me, this is the missing link for Transformers. For so many years, almost 40 years, that we have not seen Arcee hit the toy shelf, because back in the day, they actually planned on making her. That's the reason why you see the prototype. The prototype colors, for those of you who are unaware, it was really designed to kind of like show the separation of colors until they finally, made a color scheme that made sense for the character. And this is what they went with the prototype. So they're like, everyone remembers the image for the prototype, so we'll release toys now in those prototype colors. And that's what they're doing. And that's fine. I like the way that the toy color, the cartoon colored one looks personally. Now, getting a good look at the figure, you'll notice how posable it is. It is a full-on transformation. The arms are movable. They're showing you here the transformation, that like certain parts where they go. It really goes to show you her design isn't bad if you can actually figure out exactly how to make her transform and still be functional. And you can see the transformation, done this way. I think it's actually very, very cool. And she comes with a blaster. It's cool that this one comes with more of a gray one. The other one comes with more of a pink one. And actually, I think it's two different blasters. Yeah, so if in order to get both blasters, the blaster she used in the movie is the one that comes with the prototype. And the cartoon colored one comes with the season 3, weapon. That's actually interesting. You'll also notice that there is sticker sheets. So that's the reason why you're noticing that Arcee has like labels on her feet, as well as the label on her waist, the Autobot symbol, and on her shoulders. Instead of doing the whole pylon, like the backpack pylon thing, they're doing it with the way that it was originally designed, where it was these big giant like shoulder pads. Because in the 80s, women would wear jackets or shirt, or blouses that like had the giant shoulders. And that's what they were basically representing out of this particular design for her in robot mode. And that's fine. That's cool. You can see how posable she is, the way her arms move and everything. And that the transformation does work very, very well. It goes to show you, like I said, that Arcee does work as a Transformer, that this design does work if you do it well and do it right. And I cannot wait to, I really do want to get this particular figure, specifically the cartoon colored one. I'm not really into the prototype myself. I know some people are all in for both, and that's great and that's awesome. But I think that this particular figure looks awesome overall. And just to show you something else that's really cool, they showed you the scale. They show you here the scale. Here is G1 Hot Rod next to the Arcee figures. And the first thing that came to mind when I saw this image was I want Missing Link, Hot Rod, Ultra Magnus, Blur, Cup, Springer. All of those figures would be awesome in Missing Link because they're bricks. I know some folks really want to see them take the Diaclone and Microchange figures. They've already done Bumblebee, and they've already done Sunstreaker, Cliffjumper, and Corden as well. So I wouldn't mind seeing like Sideswipe, Jazz, Prowl. We need Decepticons. I'd love to see Starscream and Thundercracker and Skywarp. And heck, do a G1 Megatron. It's only released in Japan anyway, so we have to import it. Which I'm going to get into importing in about a moment. But before I get into that, I just want to say, like, I think this is great. It's awesome. The pricing is, they're going to be coming out September of 2025 is when it's actually going to be coming. You'll be able to order directly through Amazon Japan. I'm hoping that there will be some import, stores, maybe Big Bad Toy Store, or I have affiliate links through Entertainment Earth. So maybe we might see an import for them for her. And it's going to cost, what is it, 13.20? I don't know what the yen conversion is there, but yeah, it's like the pricing on it is not the least expensive, not the most expensive thing, but it's certainly not cheap. Here she is next to all of the toy colored variant of Optimus Prime there, and we actually do have an image. And of course, here she is next to all of the toy versions of the characters, having Sunstreaker and Corden and, all the other Missing Link toys. And I think it looks great. Now, the big thing that I had, my initial reaction to this was, yeah, I don't particularly care for this myself personally, because, the Hasbro CEO is basically saying, like, oh, importing through tariffs and stuff like that is going to cause us to, increase the pricing of toys. And I understand. I actually decided to listen to the video. It's about a 3-minute video. It's on Yahoo Finance. And he kind of goes into the idea of, like, yeah, we try to find different ways to make it more cost effective, which is why you see so many gaps and so many holes in the back of your Transformers toys. And you're looking at them and going, man, they're cutting costs in every way, shape, or form. And you think we don't notice. You think we don't notice the fact that, like, Slipstream's wings are, like, completely hollow in robot mode, and it does not look good, and I understand that that's not really the toy designer's fault. The toy designer is forced to design their toys this way because from Hasbro above them, they have to make cost-cutting things in order to make the toys more affordable. Well, here's the thing with Hasbro. Chris Cox himself says he wants to stop making toys, and he wants to, like, push the toys into move into video games. Well, we're not seeing the video game change yet. We know that they're investing money into trying getting a video game made. Transformers Reactivate didn't turn out to be anything because that type of video game wasn't going to get made properly, or at least be, cost effective. But when I listened to what he actually had to say, what he said is like the supply chains and stuff like that, like they're producing most of their toys in Vietnam. They're producing some of their toys in China, but the toys that are produced in China, obviously they'll get hit with a tariff, and there's no other way to get around it, in that the toys will have to increase in price if they're produced in China. Marvel is produced, the toys there are produced in China. To my understanding, they're moving the production from China to Vietnam for G.I. Joe, which is why there's like a pushback. And because of Marvel and Star Wars not doing so hot, right? Disney, makes Hasbro produce a lot of junker toys, right? But it all ends up in Ollie's because those brands are hurting. And it's not Hasbro's fault they're hurting, but Hasbro passes that cost on to you. And it's not really great. Like, they're saying, like, oh, how do we battle the tariffs? And it's like, well, then why don't you open up a manufacturing plant in the United States to actually keep up with the demand? Then the tariffs are not going to affect you, because even if you're producing in Vietnam and then those toys are getting shipped then to Australia and Europe and other places, you're not going to get hit with the US tariffs, right? Now, I understand people are going to have their own political. I want to preface this. Do not leave me, messages here in the comments about your political opinions, because honestly, I don't care whether, who you were for, because when it was inflation, Hasbro raised prices. Tariffs, Hasbro raises prices. And guess what happens when the inflation comes down? And guess what happens when the tariffs come down? The prices stay where they are. So you really can't, like, go off to me and tell me like, oh, it's, you know, it's all whatever your political opinion is. It's like, I'm not even talking about politics here. I'm talking about Hasbro and the decisions that they're making in their manufacturing that is causing them to increase the prices, make the figures have a little bit more gappy holes where we end up having to get the gap fillers that we in order for the toys that we want. And it's costing more for the toy. And mind you, the kids that are picking them up, that are playing with toys, they're enjoying it. You know, I mean, I just spent this morning, with my son, and he was going through all of my Transformers. He wanted me to help him transform the Studio Series 86 Dinobots. He's like, these figures are so awesome. They're so cool. And it was great to have that experience with my son. And I said this, in one of my last videos about how, like, having time to be able to see your kids be able to play with toys is awesome. It's a matter of affordability and what toys are they into. People are saying like, oh, people are not into video, they're into video games more than they are into toys. Well, if you do give younger kids toys, they will play with them, but they have to have a cool factor to them. And the kid has to see the toy and not pick up on it being like not that great of a toy, and there has to be like that balance. And I think that if, in my opinion, in order for Hasbro to make the right decisions, if they want to beat it, they probably should do some manufacturing here. That's one way. But I also think that you could beat it by getting more people into buying your product. And you increase the demand for your product by making more better fiction. Making more cartoons. You won't know that Transformers Cyberworld is going to be coming out with a new cartoon in June. It's going to be on YouTube. They're going to be 5-minute episodes, and it's going to sell that new toy line, and it's going to be for kids, right? Then you have the adult collectors that are buying up the generation stuff, which is great. It's awesome. They're awesome toys, but they do have a kid sector to them. And then, of course, you have those of us who are like, I want the Missing Link stuff because it's like that old G1, designer. But it's really a matter of what you're into, what you're collecting. And it's also a matter of what kids want as well. And in order to make the toys as affordable as they can be, they have to look at more avenues than just, well, we're just going to put the price on the consumer. Well, eventually the consumer will stop buying. They will stop buying your toys because it's too unaffordable to buy said toys, and they'll buy the figures from someone like Playmates, who is making Power Rangers toys that are not really exciting to Power Rangers fans, right? They're not, or you have because that's what Hasbro looks to be doing. What are they going to do? Are they going to start outsourcing more of the G.I. Joes? Because we know that Super 7 is making very pricey O-ring stuff. What else are they going to do in order to make it where more people can buy the figures? I don't care about your political stances on things. I am looking at what Hasbro's decisions are, and are they good for people who want to buy and collect this stuff, who want to, Transformers fans who want to buy Transformers, for Ninja Turtle, not Ninja Turtles, that's Playmates, Power Rangers, G.I. Joe, My Little Pony, heck, Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, if you want to know my honest opinion about Dungeons and Dragons, it's like I'd rather play first, second, or third edition. That's where I'm at with that. And whereas Magic the Gathering, it's like they're pricing quite a bit for those cards. It's ridiculous. It really is. And but like I said, if you actually listen to this video, what he's basically saying is that there are ways that they have been working on for years in order to make the toys that you don't quote unquote notice, and making it keep the same pricing before the pricing has to go up. So in other words, inflation will eventually cause the cost of the figure to go up, but tariffs will as well. So again, it's really a matter of how do you keep the affordability for these things when the market is the way that it is. I don't know. I personally think that some of the decisions that he's making are not that great, and he could make better decisions. I've heard a lot of people say that they can't stand him and they want him out of Hasbro. And they're like, well, how can you do that? Well, I mean, I do have stock in Hasbro. If it were up to me, I would probably vote for someone different for the board. If they were to come up, for the board, and it's the board who chooses the CEO. So that's basically how you change CEOs in a, in a company. Like, those are like your big boy pants thing, but I want to know what you guys think of this. Are you excited for any of Takara's releases for the new figures? Are you excited about the new Transformers releases in general? And what's your thoughts on the Marvel Comics finally getting a giant compendium collection? And what are your thoughts here about Hasbro CEO's decisions and what he's doing? Again, I am not here to talk politics. So with that said, I want to know what you guys think about all this. Of course, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be sure to thumbs up this video and subscribe. Check out my other videos as well. I have many more Transformers videos like this coming soon, including some new and updated retrospectives. So you can stay tuned for all of that. And as always, guys, until next time, till all are one.